Welcome to Mitchell Maths. In this video we are going to have a look at simultaneous equations. What I mean by simultaneous equations is when you have two equations and you also have two unknowns. So in this case we don't know the x and y values, and we're going to use these two equations to work that out. In this video we're going to be using something called the elimination method, where we either add or subtract the equations in order to eliminate either the x or the y. In order to do that, we first need either the x values or the y values to be the same. Well, I can see from this equation that I've got 4x and 4x, which means we can get rid of the x's. Now you need to look at them and see, are they both positive, are they both negative, or have we got a positive and a negative? In this case, 4x and 4x are both positive, and if they're the same, so if they're both the negative or they're both positive, you need to subtract the equations to eliminate. Therefore, to eliminate the x's, I'm going to take away the equations because they're both the same, they're both positive. 4x minus 4x is 0. 3y minus 5y, so I'm taking away a negative number, which means I'm going to add it, will give me 8y, and 6 take away 22 is 16, or minus 16. I'm then going to divide by 8, which will give me, to work out my value of y, which will give me y equals minus 2. Now that I know one of my unknowns, what I can do is I can look at my original equations, and you can choose, it doesn't matter which one you choose, you just choose the easiest one, and what you do is you substitute your value that you know into that equation and then work out the value you don't know by solving it. So I'm using 4x plus 3y equals 6. I know that y is equal to minus 2, therefore I'm going to have 4x, 3 times minus 2 is minus 6, 4x minus 6 equals 6. And to solve it, I need to get x on its own. I'm going to add the 6's to both sides, which will give me 4x equals 12. And then I'm going to divide by 4, which will give me x equals 3. And that's my answers. Y equals minus 2, x equals 3. In the next equation, it's a little bit harder because, as you can see, both the x's and the y's are different. And what that means I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to either multiply one equation or both equations by something in order to make either the x's or the y's the same. Well, I think that 2y and 3y are probably will be easier to make the same than 3x and 7x. Therefore, I'll have a look at these. Right, the lowest common multiple of 2y and 3y is 6y. Therefore, to get that, I'm going to need to multiply the top equation by 3. And I'm going to need to multiply the bottom equation by 2. 3x times 3 is 9x. 2y times 3 is plus 6y. And 29 times 3 is 87. And for my bottom equation, I'm going to remember you're timesing that one by 2. 7x times 2 is 14x. Minus 3y times 2 is minus 6y. And 14 times 2 is 28. If we have a look at our two y values, we can see that one's positive and one's negative. And when the signs are different, we need to add the equations. So when they're the same, subtract. When they're different, we add. So in this case, to eliminate the y's, we're going to add the equations. 9x plus 14x is 23x. 6y plus minus 6y is going to get rid of that, so that'll be 0. And 87 plus 28 is 115. In order to find the x values, we need to divide by 23. if we divide, so let's divide both sides by 23. And we get x equals 5. Now that we've got one of our values, we can substitute that back into one of the original equations. I'd use one of the originals, not the multiplied ones, because the original ones are probably going to be easy to work out. We've got 3x plus 2y equals 29. I've got my value x equals 5. 3 times 5 is 15, so therefore it's 15 plus 2y equals 29. And now I just need to solve it to find the value of y. I'm going to minus 15 from both sides, which will give us 2y equals 14. I'm going to divide by 2, and that'll get us y equals 7. Therefore, our answers to this question is x equals 5 and y equals 7. In some questions may ask you to draw the equation on a graph in order to solve the simultaneous equations. In this case, they've already drawn the equation 3y minus 6x equals 6 for us. And they want us to say, it says on the graph, draw the equation y plus 2x equals 8 to solve the simultaneous equation. So what they're looking for in this type of question is for you to draw the graph for the other equation, and then to have a look at where the points intersect in order to work out your x and y values. First of all, what I'm going to want to do with this equation is I'm going to want to change it in the form of y equals mx plus c. I'm going to minus the 2x from both sides, which will give us y equals minus 2x plus 8. This will make the graph a lot easier to draw. First, I'm probably going to look at the y-intercept because that's quite easy to get from the equation. Well, when x is 0, y is 8. Therefore, I'm going to have a point here. I'm also going to have a look at the x-intercept because that'll probably be quite an easy point because at the x-intercept, the y value is 0. So if I just do... I'm going to add 2x to both sides. 2x equals 8. And divide by 2. And that'll give me my x value, which is 4. So the x-intercept, it's at x equals 4. And then I draw a straight line from 4 to 8, which is shown here. I then need to look at where do the two graphs intersect after I've drawn the straight line. And I can see my x value at that point is halfway between 1 and 2, which is 1.5. And I can see my y value is halfway between 4 and 6, which shall be 5. Therefore, my answers for this question is x equals 1.5 and y equals 5. Now, the final question we're going to do is when they give us this, they don't give us the simultaneous equations as equations, they give us a worded equation and they expect us to write out the simultaneous equations from that. So in this question, at the cinema, 2 adult tickets and 3 child tickets cost £30. Well, I can write that as 2a plus 3c equals 30. And the next equation is 4 adult tickets and 1 child ticket costs £35. I can write that as 4a plus c equals 35. I need to decide which equation I want to make, how am I going to make the equations equal. I could either times the top equation by 2 to make the a's the same, or I could multiply the bottom equation by 3 to make the c's the same. I think I'll multiply the top equation by 2, which will give me 4a plus 6c equals 60. The next thing you need to do is you need to have a look at the signs. So the 4a's are both positive. If it's the same, then if it's the same, subtract. Therefore, I'm going to subtract the equations in order to eliminate the A value. 6c minus c is 5c, equals 60 take away 35 is 25. I then need to divide by 5 in order to find the price of a child ticket, which will be £5. Therefore, I know that c is 5, and I'm going to substitute it into one of my original equations. I'll probably use the bottom one, will be the easiest, I think, in this case. I've got 4a plus c equals 35. I know that c equals 5, therefore 4a plus 5 equals 35. I'm going to take away 5 from both sides, which will give me 4a equals 30, and then I need to divide both sides by 4, which will give me a equals £7.50. Therefore, for that question, the price of an adult ticket is £7.50. The price of a child ticket is £5. So that's an example of a worded question where you're given the question in words, but you need to form the simultaneous equations and solve it from there. Right, thank you for watching. If you want to have some practice questions, please visit www.mitchellmathsandscience.com. If you like the video, then hit the subscribe button to see more videos.